But yeah, he talks to Parattici every day. Parattici was down on the side of the pitch yesterday, kind of spending his time either looking at his phone doing this, which I know people are always saying he's playing Candy Crush or something, and also talking to Gian Pietro Ventroni, the first team fitness head. They were kind of deep in discussion about a lot of things. I don't know what they were. They were in deep in discussion about various things, I'm sure. But yeah, Conte talks to him every day. So he will have a sense of what's likely to happen this summer. They'll have this meeting at the end of the season, him, Levy and Parattici. But this kind of, he'll have got an idea of what's going to happen. And I just wonder where the slight change in tone is because of that. Look, he has spoken about spending big money. I do think perhaps he also does mean over a range of seasons, not all in one summer. But I think the key for Tottenham will be spending it the right way this summer. January was the perfect example of signing two players, in Kulusevski and Bentancur. Kulusevski I thought was very good again against Liverpool. Bentancur, like I say, much better second half. But in signing two players who aren't costing the world, but they are fantastic additions for this squad, and they're both winners. Kulusevski obviously has won the Coppa Italia last year with Juventus. Bentancur is a 3-time Serie A winner, crucial in the last one they won. That's the kind of clever signing. And then you look at, me speaking about the Champions League final being a really negative kind of point that Tottenham then really deflated them for a few years. They then, in that next summer, went out and splashed out, which in total, all said and done, was roughly kind of approaching 150 million for Tanguy Ndombele, Giovanni Lo Celso, Ryan Sessegnon, Jack Clarke. With hindsight, you look back on that now, Tanguy and Giovanni Lo Celso are both out on loan at teams because Spurs couldn't find permanent buyers for them. Jack Clarke's at Stoke, probably not going to break into the Tottenham first team, unfortunately for him. And then Sess, hopefully, fingers crossed, if he can steer clear of injury, will be the one out of that window who looks like he's going to hopefully be a success. But it's taken its time. He's been away on season at Hoffenheim on loan. He's had his injury problems. So, you look back at that summer and it was poor. It was poorly planned and recruited. It didn't feel like it at the time. It felt like, in Tanguy, they were getting one of the best young players in Europe. But it just shows you that sometimes the most exciting players aren't the right players, and sometimes it's not about spending the most money. It's about targeting. I can only go back to Romero. Romero is a player that I think United, Liverpool, probably City, Chelsea will look at now and go, why didn't we sign him? Because you look at it and, he's signed on loan, and Spurs will make that permanent for, I think it's 42 million this summer. That is a bargain. That is an absolute bargain for a player of his quality. And that's what they need to look at. They do. Because Kulusevski, Bentancur and Romero have all ticked those two boxes. Young prospects that the club love, that they can, they're not the finished article, and I suppose if you want to be cynical, their value will only increase. But on the flip side, they're also ready-made players for Conte to put in his team right now, and they can play these massive games against Liverpools and Man Cities of the world. And that's what Conte wants, players like that. It'll be interesting to see how Parattici kind of, works this summer, because he'll have had, almost a year now to have understood the Premier League better. Some of his signings for Nuno were not great. They didn't work out. Conte very publicly kind of denounced his signing of Bryan Gil, saying that, where was the research to see that this guy could fit into the Premier League? Very talented, but of course very lightweight. And it'd be interesting to see what Paratici's learned. And obviously there's some suggestions that Kulusevski and Bentancur, there was an input from Conte in those as well. Fascinating window for Paratici to kind of make his mark in a Conte Tottenham. And, he is closing in on his own number 2, Fabio Paratici. I understand they've held all the interviews. All the people on the shortlist have now been interviewed, and he's going to name them. It's not going to be someone that we're going to be massively aware of and see in the public eye. That's going to still be Paratici. It's going to be someone that works behind the scenes. It looks like I think it's going to be someone from abroad. But it'll just be another body, because don't forget, Steve Hitchen, who's the technical performance director, he obviously headed off in, was it February? So he was working with Paraticic and not only kind of the transfer side of things, although that was greatly reduced towards the end of his time, but he was also helping overhaul a lot of departments on the football side, like the scouting, like the sports science, all of that sort of stuff. And so Paraticic, he needs that void filled, really. You know, it's not a one-man job, that. So he's going to have this person come in, who knows, probably going to be an Italian. I wouldn't be shocked if it's an Italian. And they'll implement Paraticic's vision of essentially, I guess, recreating a lot of the good stuff about Juventus, who are an elite top-level team, and bringing it to Tottenham. So, yeah, I'd expect that to... Whether Spurs will make an announcement, I don't know how that works. I think they probably will. But obviously, as soon as I get wind of who it is, I will let you know. But, yeah, interesting to see how it works. He does need all the help he can get. And I want to see all these departments continue to be overhauled. That's only a good thing. Constantly refresh and improve, you know, not only on the pitch, but off it as well. And yeah, fascinating it's going to be. But, you know, Thursday. I can't get my head off Thursday. It's going to be horrible hopefully in the best possible sense, because I hate North London derbies with a passion. I do. I never enjoy reporting on them. They are probably the one game that the emotion is unpleasant. Even when Spurs are winning, it's so difficult to write about. It's the one game where, yeah, my emotions probably get carried away at times as well, which is I try and maintain them all the time, but ultimately I want to be almost deafened by that noise. I don't want to actually be permanently deafened, but I want it to be such a ridiculous noise in there that Arsenal don't know what's hit them. They, you know, I go to the Emirates for the North London derbies, and they're always really weird the way it works for the crowd. The Arsenal crowd, at times, they're very noisy and they make it difficult for Tottenham. And at other times, they're very much, let us be entertained. And I don't think the Tottenham fans can afford to take that stance. And look, this isn't on you guys. This isn't on the Tottenham fans. This is on the players. I know that. But the benefit of the fans who get into that stadium on Thursday night, they could be huge in determining certainly the level of comfort that Arsenal have.